Change. The word alone can be challenging. How do we get started? Where will the change lead? Don't sit there and worry about it. Be the change. Welcome to Be the Change Radio. Host Christina Bloom has been a professional psychic and spiritual advisor for 20 years, offering psychic and mediumship readings for individuals and groups. She also teaches several classes in psychic development and metaphysics. In addition, she is an author who has published 2 books so far and is the co-owner of Moonbow Publications and Productions, LLC. Are you ready for that change now? Here is your host of Be the Change Radio, Christina Bloom.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Be the Change Radio. I'm Christina Bloom, and I'm your host. You're listening to us on WLTK-DB, Paranormal Talk Radio. Thanks for being with us this evening. Before we get going, I do have some announcements. On Thursday, the 14th of April, I will be doing a DNA activation class. With the ascension of humanity, our bodies are trying to keep up with our rapidly growing spiritual energy and the just excess energy on the planet right now. And we are going to explore how our DNA is adapting as we grow and do some exploration in how we can take place in changing our DNA, because you can look it up pretty much anywhere, but they've been doing a lot of experiments on DNA, and we can actually change our DNA with the way that we think about it and the way that we feel about it. And that's what this class is about, and where we are going to take some intentional steps to do some upgrades to our own DNA. So that's going to be really exciting. That's on Zoom. So you can find that on my Meetup page. It's meetup.com/onespiritconnection/events/calendar. Just go to the 14th of April, click it, and there's an event link there in the body of the description that you can click on to register for the class, and then the Zoom link will be emailed to you. It's getting close, 2.5 weeks away. I'm so excited. This Deeper Awakening to Eliminate Your Limits retreat with Brian Kopic. It's the first time Brian and I have done a retreat together, so it's going to be really interesting to see how his program works with my program, and it looks like it's going to come together seamlessly. We're going to be at Black's Cliff Resort in the beautiful Hazelhurst, Wisconsin, overlooking Lake Cobashine, and we have 2 of the big lodges, the 2 biggest lodges, plus some extra housing available to us if we need it. So you still have time to get in. Email me if you want some information, Christina@ChristinaBloom.com, and I will get that information to you. All right, on the 28th of April, I am doing a seance live and in person at Soul and Synergy at their new location at 1233 Menominee Street, Suite B in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. And that'll be from 7 to 9 p.m. They are selling tickets through Soul and Synergy, so you can get a hold of them on Facebook and get a hold of Terry Flick and get tickets for that. And while I'm in Eau Claire, right? So it's going to be Saturday, April 30th. Soul and Synergy is having a metaphysical and wellness fair at the Sleep-In Suites and Conference Center on 33rd Avenue in Eau Claire. So that's what I've got going on for the rest of the month, and I'm hoping to run into some of you out there while I'm out and about. That'll be great. Tonight's show, we have Carrie Kaufman, who is a yoga teacher, meditation teacher. She owns a retreat center. So we're going to be talking a lot about retreats tonight. Very excited about that. And she has a really special retreat coming up that I'm going to let her tell you about. It's a Lead Into Leadership retreat for retreat leaders. So if you've been thinking about having your own retreats, she has a retreat to teach you how to do that. And I can't wait to hear more about that. Retreats are really, really something that a lot of us don't really consider to be essential, but I do. I consider them to be essential because everyone needs some space to take care of themselves, whether it's to learn something, to go on a silent retreat. There's retreats for everything. There's quilting retreats and writing retreats, and pretty much anything you want to do, someone is doing a retreat for it. But it's really a chance to just get away for a few days and not have to think about your life so much as being in a place where you can either do some healing, improve a skill, whatever it is. So I think the retreats are really important. And I feel like this is something that people are going to be paying more attention to as we're moving into, the new earth, as they say, with the ascension process, and people paying more attention to taking care of themselves on all levels. All right. So let's talk retreats. Let's bring Carrie out. Hey, Carrie.
Hi, Christina.
I'm so happy you're here today. Thank you.
I'm happy I'm here today too, and I'm kind of excited to upgrade my DNA for this ascension.
Yeah, it's always interesting. I mean, I've been doing DNA upgrading for years now with some classes, but I haven't done it in a few years, and it feels like it's time we've hit a new level. It's time to level up with it.
It certainly feels like it. It's things are increasing at an increasing rate for sure.
Absolutely. I want to know, what do you got going on? You've got this beautiful retreat center. I didn't get to see it, but
I can't believe you haven't seen it yet. So April 29th is our 1-year anniversary since the day we closed on it. We thought it would be a really great idea to buy a retreat center in the middle of a pandemic in the middle of Vermont, which was completely closed off to anybody who did not live in the state of Vermont. So that was last April. But we are spiritual people, so we knew.
Yes.
We just thought that made it all the more fun, right? It made it a bigger adventure. And we knew that we were, I'm a big student of Tony Robbins, and Tony Robbins always talks about businesses that start in the winter. Businesses that start in the winter will only thrive in the summer. So we're moving into our spring. I can optimistically say at this point in time, we've had a really remarkable first year. Anybody who has started a business knows all of the stages of what that feels like in the first year of creating a business, creating a new partnership, all of those growing pains and aches, trying different strategies, building and rebuilding and unbuilding and then rebuilding again, succeeding and then going backwards and then moving forwards faster and throwing things against a wall, all those things, right? Yes. So a year is really, really exciting, and we're really poised for the spring and the summer, right? Literally and figuratively of where we're going. We're very, very optimistic for the rest of 22. We have really increased our reputation. People are finding us now, which is really exciting. People are calling us and saying, we hear you're a wonderful retreat center. We want to have a retreat there. And we're not a year old yet. So that feels almost too good to be true. And we have this is sort of our mud season in Vermont. It's not a great time of year for retreats, but we have a retreat this weekend that is being well attended, surprisingly, in April. And then we hit our busy season. So we have a very, very busy May, June, July, August, all the way through October. We have a lot of fun things happening. We have our first weddings. We have a number of different retreat leaders bringing retreats to us, new people. Business retreats, strategy retreats, healing retreats, magic retreats. It's amazing. It's really amazing, because I think a lot of the first year was us getting used to the place and kind of stress testing it, doing retreats and seeing what worked and what needed to be improved upon, and getting the kinks out and having friends of ours lead retreats. And now we're ready for prime time. And that's where we'll be in the summer and the fall of 2022. So very, very exciting stuff. Yeah, super exciting stuff.
That's awesome. I know I'll be out again in October. So I am making a point of looking at that place in October. I know the weather wasn't good in February when I came.
No, it wasn't.
The weather wasn't. We drove two days in snow and ice to get there. And I was just like, I can't do it one more day. I just can't. So But I am looking forward to getting out there and checking it out because, as you know, I run retreats. So I am looking forward to the opportunity of having a retreat there.
Well, we look forward to hosting you there. So I think you're aware, I have been running retreats for about 7 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And I have run retreats at retreat centers. I have run retreats at inns, at bed and breakfasts, at hotels, at bungalows that I've turned into retreat centers. I've always tried to do my retreats in kind of off the beaten track so people would have a different kind of experience, not the standard, shala that looks like all the other retreat centers, but something a little bit different. So what prompted us in buying a retreat center, what we've tried to create with Enliven, is to make it a retreat leaders retreat center. And I mean that in every aspect of the word. We want it to be an easy experience for retreat leaders to lead retreats there. We want to hold your hand and help you in any way that you need it. We'll provide ancillary services, or we'll provide no services depending on what a retreat leader needs. We provided pricing so we know that retreat leaders can make money running retreats. That's really important to us.
Yeah.
We want this to be a significant revenue stream for the people who lead retreats at our center. And the center has everything you need and desire in running a retreat, because we've kind of thought about everything we've ever wanted, and we keep putting it in there, whether it's having the right kind of organic coffee or the right kind of organic tea, or having fresh flowers in the room when people come in, or homemade bath salts in the room for their tub.
Nice.
Really everything that we could think of, really sumptuous bathrobes that people can put on and when they go down to the spa to use the jacuzzi and the sauna. And people love it. People are really responding and people really appreciate it. My friends pull their lotion out of their purse, and it's the lotion from the inn, and they love the lotion because the products are really nice, and they were really well thought out. Everything has been really, really thoughtful. And we treat our retreat leaders as we treat our retreat guests. We want them to be part of our family. Our model is really, we want to partner with people who are going to be long-term relationships who will come back over and over again. And we want our retreat guests to be long-term relationships who come for multiple things. Maybe they come to a retreat, maybe their daughter's getting married and they want to hold a wedding at Enliven, or perhaps they themselves want to run a retreat. We have a number of people this summer and this fall coming. One is bringing their work team to hold a retreat. They want some team building and some relaxing. Another is hosting her friend's 50th birthday party, and they're bringing a number of people and hiring me to come teach yoga and for us to do some workshops. So it's
Beautiful.
We're starting to see the way it's manifesting, which is exactly how we wanted it to. So that's what's really fun. We kind of made an intention when we started. We did not want this to be a one night stand with anybody who came to the inn, right? We really wanted the relationship with each and every person who crossed the door at the inn. And so that's what we've tried to build into all of the different offerings we have and all of everything that we're doing there.
That's wonderful. Can you give us a website to go check out the retreat?
Absolutely. It's Enliven VT, like the state of Vermont, ENLIVEN VT.com.
Awesome. Yeah, so you can all go there and check out the retreat. I've only seen it on the website. Again, horrible weather, couldn't get there, but I am looking forward to seeing it next time I go out. So, and I spend a lot of time heading east. I'm just, moving that direction. So I love it out there.
And Vermont,
you have, what was that?
I was going to say Vermont's a special place.
Yeah.
The greenery, right? I mean, you've been there, but the rolling green hills, we are nestled in between 4 different hills. So it's all green. We have a river that runs alongside us, and it's because of the mountains on all 4 sides of us, it really is a vortex of energy right in the center of where the inn sits and in where our yard is, right? So the energy is amazingly powerful. And then you couple that with the river that runs alongside it. And it's the Green River, which is the cleanest river in the state of Vermont because of the copper that runs inside it naturally.
Okay.
And so the combination of all of those elements and the power of those elements, we've tried to create what the experience is on the website, even through video, but you can't quite experience it unless you're actually there and you feel Mama Earth and how she feels there, right in Vermont and our backyard.
I know I've driven through Vermont, and I've been to Burlington a few times, but even just driving through the Green Mountains in Vermont, it was like green is definitely the color of the whole state. It's every shade of green. It's just beautiful. Tell us about the Lead into Leadership retreat that you're developing. I'm excited about that one too.
So I think everything that kind of comes out of Enliven, and Enliven started as my retreat business originally. It was a yoga studio for a brief period of time, which then became the Inn, and now it's starting to move into programming. Everything that Enliven is it learns from, the people who show up and want to be served by it. So as I started talking to retreat leaders, which at this point, having been open a year, is a couple of dozen, what I realized is a lot of people, even those who have done retreats, need a lot of guidance. There's a lot of insecurity. There's a lot of unsurety. There's a lot of questions. There's a lot of sort of misunderstandings, perhaps. And so I started to document some of it, and I started to work with retreat leaders on some of it. And I said, it would probably be a really great idea to spend some time with people to actually teach them everything that I've learned, having done this so many times and having done it so many times successfully. And what does that look like? So I talked to other retreat leaders that I work with, and we brainstormed and we put together what we think the biggest elements are in running a successful retreat, creating, filling, and running a successful retreat. And what does that look like? So I turned it into a 3-day workshop. It will cover everything from how do you become the leader that you want to be to run a retreat? How do you attract the kind of people you want to attract when you run a retreat? And then the logistics, all the financial stuff. How do you price it? How do you figure out what to do? How do you set your agenda? How do you market it? All of those components. And then the output or the takeaway from the weekend, my expectation is that everyone will have a blueprint of what they want their dream retreat to look like. What is the name of it? What season is it in? What are they going to do? What's the agenda? How are they going to price it? What other modalities or teachers are they going to bring into it? And how are they going to go about putting that out in the marketplace, so that essentially all they have to do is start taking those action steps to actually create that retreat for themselves.
That sounds amazing.
Thank you.
If I wasn't already booked that weekend, I'd probably go to that retreat. Well, that sounds amazing.
I'm contemplating and anticipating I will probably do some online mastermind courses leading up to it. So maybe you can catch one of those.
Oh, that'd be great. That'd be great. Yeah. All right. We're going to take a station break, and we will be right back to keep talking about retreats. Deeper awakening to eliminate your limits. 2 world-class coaches come together for a retreat in Wisconsin's beautiful North Woods. Meet Christina Bloom, Spiritual Advisor. Christina's extensive experience in helping her clients with spiritual growth and deep emotional healing comes together with Brian Kopic's proven 4-pillar system to eliminate your limits. With their combined expertise, Brian and Christina will guide you through a weekend journey to transform your life to achieve both physical and spiritual balance. Save the dates, April 21st through 24th. held at Black's Cliff Resort in Hazelhurst, Wisconsin, a premier resort in Wisconsin's beautiful North Woods. For more information, email Christina at ChristinaBloom.com. Welcome back, everyone. We are at almost 21 minutes past the hour. You're listening to Be the Change Radio on WLTK-DB.com, Paranormal Talk Radio. I'm here today with Carrie Kaufman, owner of Enliven Retreat Center in Vermont. And Carrie does a whole lot more than just own a retreat center. You also teach yoga and meditation. What else do you do?
Well, I'm a black belt in Taekwondo. I'm a mom of two amazing sons who are 15 and 20. They're sort of the why behind everything that I do. I travel to amazing places and take people with me sometimes and lead really amazing yoga, adventure, and transformation retreats in different places around the world. I have a retreat in Italy in October that I'm very excited about.
Nice.
Really an opportunity to experience an Italian village while experiencing some really neat yoga and transformative kinds of practices that we're going to be doing.
Wow, that is really exciting. How does somebody get in on that?
They can find all the information on my website. Just look under the tab on upcoming retreats at enlivenvt.com.
Awesome. Awesome. Wow. Wish I'd known about that. Anyway, so I was talking earlier before you came on about how there are so many different retreats and how I feel it's important that people take that time, to take that time to take care of themselves, to just even, I know people who do, say, quilting retreats or writing retreats, just to step out of their normal lives and be able to just concentrate on why they're there. And I think, well, I've been seeing it's more and more important for people as we're going through this ascension process to be able to take the time to step away from their lives and reevaluate. So what kind of retreats? You said there's a whole bunch of retreats coming up, summer into fall. What kind of retreats are happening at your place?
So one of the things that we're seeing a big uptick in are corporate retreats. So people bring their employees for one of two things. One is just renewal, team building, team bonding, that kind of thing. Get them out of the office, get to know them better. One of our leaders, she has a new team. They don't really know each other. They work virtually. It's an opportunity for them to connect and bond and get to know each other. I have other retreats coming, more geared towards solopreneurs or maybe small business owners focused on building their marketing plans and their marketing strategies and being able to do that in a concentrated format. I have some fun California yoga teachers who are bringing their groups to kind of do some rock and roll dancing and yoga retreats, which is fun. Yeah. I have a couple of environmental psychologists who want to do a magic and environment retreat in October. We've talked to people about fly fishing retreats.
Oh yeah, right on the river. That would make sense.
We're working on some cooking retreats, writing retreats, mother-daughter retreats. We have a couple of private retreats, which is somebody grabs a dozen of their friends and comes and hires our services, and we'll do the same thing that we would do for one of our retreats for their private group. And that's actually becoming quite popular. We have some people who do what you do, who are having come in retreat, some paranormal, some medium kind of trying to get those off the ground. Those have not happened yet. And what we do on a monthly basis, just what you're saying about need a retreat to get out of your normal life. And I think as the energy increases, the need for it increases more, right? The tolerance to be able to stay in your everyday life gets less and less. And
Right.
I find I need to go out there more and more and more. And I need to do that. I need to be by the river. I need to be in nature. I need to find that healing. So we offer, my partner and I, we run a retreat monthly that we call R&R. You define the R's. So whatever you want them to be: rest, renewal, revive, rest. I said that already. I guess that's what I need.
Well, you are kind of busy.
Pick an R, whatever you want your R's to be. It's R&R.
I love that.
And we tend to intuitively run these retreats. We see who shows up and we see what they need and we give them what they need. So sometimes it's a couple who feels kind of estranged, and my partner is a trained facilitator in human design. So she spent a lot of time working with them in human design and teaching them how to use their strategies and their authorities and their types to get along better and to communicate better. We tend to put a little bit of human design into most of our transformational retreats because it's very hard to create a plan for transformation if you don't really know where you're starting from, right? Who you are.
Exactly. Human design is fascinating too. I'm going to have to do another show on human design. It's a really fascinating thing because it brings so many different aspects into getting to know yourself.
Yes. And there's so many places you can take it, right? Because it's knowing yourself in partnership. It's knowing yourself in a business environment. It's knowing yourself in your family structure. And all of those require deep dives, right? Because there's so many different components of those. So we spend a lot of time on human design. We do a lot of drum circles because we have this lovely fire pit right next to the river, and the energy there is really, really calls for that. We do some art retreats where you can paint. We've done paint and sips. We're doing intuitive painting this summer where
I love that.
We have an intuitive painter who helps you define, open up your creative chakras and your creative energy, and then you paint from that place. She also does some wild painting of the Akashic records, of your Akashic records. She can do that. So we have some fun modalities, fun people. Fun people are definitely coming out of the woodwork who want to come play in Vermont.
That's awesome.
A lot of dancing that goes on there, a lot of different kinds of dance, spiritual dance, that people come and teach. So we'll see what else shows up this summer.
I know some people who do chakra dance, which is interesting to me. It's just kind of you tune into your chakras and then just kind of move your body as you're drawn to do it. And to me, it's kind of, this is going to sound so judgmental, and I don't mean it that way, but a lot of times watching people do that kind of dance where they're just in tune with their spirit, it looks like one of those tall blow up things that move in the wind, because people are just so loose and flowing with it. And it's really, I think it's a wonderful thing for people to get that in tune with themselves as they're moving through. I know the retreats I do are, they're deep dive retreats. They're getting to know yourself. They're really getting into the nitty gritty of, I really want to change my life. So how am I going to do it? And that sort of thing. So I am excited about at some point coming out and doing a retreat at your facility. That's going to be really cool.
It's going to be really cool.
Yeah. If you haven't had a chance, seriously, go to the website and look at it. The place is stunning. It's so beautiful.
Thank you.
Absolutely beautiful.
I'm really, really proud of it. It's every time I step onto it, I'm in awe, really, truly in awe and in gratitude that it came to me, right? That it became mine. I kind of feel about it like I feel like my children. Like I don't own anything. Things have just been lent to me to be a steward of in this lifetime, right?
Right.
And I do feel that way about the Green River, and it was trusted to me, to
And
take.
how did that happen?
How did the universe knock on my door and say, take
Yes.
this in? So it's a great story. So I've always been highly intuitive and very trusting of the universe. And
Mm-hmm.
I've always received very loud messages, and I don't always listen to them. So that's my backdrop story. I don't always listen to them, and they get louder and louder until I do, is sort of how it works. So I have a my now business partner at Enliven. She and I had run retreats together in the past. And we had the experience of running a retreat in a Victorian inn in Saco, Maine. And it was the first time we had run a retreat where we had the whole facility, where we could control the flow, we could control the timing, we could control the kitchen, we could control all the pieces of the energy that flowed in and out of that weekend. It was the best retreat we ever did, right? Because we didn't have any of these external factors that we had no control over. And we started to play with the concept of, let's get a retreat center. And neither of us were in a financial position to go and buy an inn. Neither of us were in a place where that was within our consciousness. But we started playing, literally playing. And we started looking at, some inns that were for sale closer to where we lived in New York, not in Vermont. And we would go to auctions, and we would envision this concept of having a retreat center. We just played this, like, let's put this in a vibration. Let's create our vision board in real life of what this looks like. So then COVID happened, and I think, as everyone else did, my life kind of shut down. Right, I stopped doing retreats. I had been isolated for some time, and I tend to do a lot of things at the same time. And in the absence of doing retreats, in the absence of travel, in the absence of having a lot of time to think, which was actually, it was a really good thing for me. But I started to question and ponder, what is next for me? And it was the first time in some time where I really was unclear as to what that was going to look like for me. What am I going to, who am I going to be when this ends? And all I knew is I wanted to be more. I wanted to create more. I wanted to help more. I wanted to serve more. I wanted my ripple to be bigger. And doing one retreat at a time, 3 or 4 times a year was a valiant effort. But how could I do more? How could I touch more people? And I didn't really have a plan. And then Brenda and I, we share some pretty powerful metaphysical channels together in human design. And when we get together, it's kind of like wonder twin powers activate, and our juices start to flow. And what happened was, I was dating somebody in the state of Vermont, and I was driving into the state of Vermont during COVID, when you weren't allowed to cross the state line. So I would turn my lights off, and I would drive very stealthily, the 10 miles or so down the road to get to where I was going. And every time I drove down Road 313 in the state of Southern Vermont, if you're familiar, near Arlington, there's a sign that says Sandgate Road, and it's a brighter green than all the other signs on 313. It's a bigger sign, and it's a brighter green than all the other signs. And every time I would drive, and I don't know this part of 313, I'm familiar with Arlington, and I'm like where the Arlington Inn is, and I'm familiar with Manchester, but I'm not familiar with this part. But every time I would drive down 313, this Sandgate Road sign would jump off the street sign onto the dash of my car, and I would get this message that said, go on Zillow and look for B&Bs in the state of Vermont. And I would get that message every single time I drove into the state of Vermont, and every single time I drove home. And this happened for months. Every single time I was going out once, twice a week. And every time I went, it would jump off the sign onto the dash of my car and say, look for B&Bs in the state of Vermont on Zillow. And it was very specific, on Zillow. And I was like, all right. So I did what I do when I get most messages. I ignore it. So this has been going on for some time. So Brenda came over and we were having a brainstorming session, a spiritual meeting as we did. And we were talking about, we don't know what our next step is. What are we going to do? And we had looked at a number of retreat centers and none of them were right. None of them had the right components. None of them had the right space. They weren't the right feel. So we hadn't really talked about that in some time. And so we were having this conversation. I said, well, I think by fall of 21, I should be able to start doing international retreats. Nope. But we were trying to figure out kind of where we go next. And I looked at her and I was like, oh my God, we have to go on Zillow and look for bed and breakfasts in the state of Vermont. And she said, what? And I got this message about 50 times now that we need to go on Zillow and look for B&Bs in the state of Vermont. So we pull up my computer, we go to Zillow, we look for bed and breakfast, Vermont, and up comes a bunch of listings. And the first one is the Arlington Inn. The Arlington Inn is one of the oldest inns in the state of Vermont. It's absolutely beautiful and it's on the market for $1.8 million. We're like, yeah, well, that's probably more than we had in mind, right? And it's very grand and it's very old. And when I see very grand and very old, what I see is very much in need of repair and maintenance. So
yes, 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 absolutely.
That's not our inn. So the next listing was this thumbnail sketch about, this big. It was like this tiny little square and you couldn't really quite make out the building. And it said bed and breakfast, 13,000 square feet on a river with a 3-bedroom carriage house. And then the price, which was just ridiculous. And we laughed. We just laughed. And I said, I think we have to check it out, right? I think we just have to check it out. So we click the talk to the agent. And, Zillow agents typically are the newest agent in the office who doesn't really know anything. And they're going to give you a hard time. They're not going to be super helpful. Well, because this was predestined, the agent on Zillow happens to be the leading corporate real estate agent in the state of Vermont. And her name is Margreta, and she's a manifester, actually. And she has 9 children that she homeschooled, and she's the leading real estate agent in the state of Vermont. And she is amazing, amazing, amazing. So we become fast friends on Zillow. And she said, well, I can't have you come see it because you can't cross the state line. And I said, okay, well, just keep us posted if there's any activity and we'll figure out when we come to see it. So then she calls me and she's like, if you guys wear masks. Oh no. So what I did, the man that I was dating lived around the corner from it. So I had him go and check it out. He went on a stealth mission for me. So he went, he took some pictures, and he called us back and he said, ladies, you have to go see it. You have to go see it. So we said, well, that's a ringing endorsement. So we call our agent back and we said, we have to come see it. Can we come see it? And she said, all right, put on a mask. Don't tell anybody and I'll meet you there. So Brenda and I come to the inn. It's January. So January in Vermont is not a particularly beautiful time, right? It's somewhat gray. It's cold. The snow tends to be kind of black if it's been there for a while. And we pull our car into the inn. And we were, I guess, in a state of complete disbelief from the get-go, right? Because we had low expectations in any case. So we get out of the car and we walk through, and the first thing that you see is the inn's on the left and the river's on the right. So we walk towards the backyard, towards the pavilion, and the river is flowing. It's flowing even through January. It's still flowing. And we're like, there's a river, because water was one of our requirements, right? And we look and we see the pavilion and we're like, and there's the pavilion, which that was a requirement. And oh, there's the deck and like acres of sprawling green hills. And we're like, okay, this is really, really, really too good to be true. We can't get excited yet. So we go inside and we look at every room, and every room is more beautiful than the one before and more immaculate than the one before. And we're just confused, like, positively confused. So then the proprietor invites us to sit down and have coffee. This is in the heyday of COVID, right? Where people are terrified to talk to each other. She invites
Yeah.
us in for coffee. We're like, sure, we'd love to have coffee with you. We sit down, we have coffee. We tell her our vision, which is we want to have beautiful healing retreats, and we want to offer retreats for the community, and we want to serve the communities of addiction and recovery, and we want to do a lot of giving back to underserved populations and all of these things that we had in our grander, longer term vision. And she said, I want you guys to have, I want you to have my in. I really want you to have my in. There's somebody else interested in it though. So backstory, I found out last week that the person who was interested in it lived in Florida, had this romantic idea of a retreat center in Vermont that she wanted to turn this inn into a retreat center. And she came up. It was her first winter in Vermont. She had a horrible winter. And then she went home back to Florida and apparently was like horribly ill for a period of time, like months.
Wow.
So it was in that time that we kind of swooped in and found it. And at that point, she hadn't been responsive. And so they ended up letting us make an offer, which we did that day. And it just, I'm a pure generator, splenic decision maker. When I want to make a decision, like I know it with all of my being in that moment, right? And there was no doubt in my mind that retreat center needed us, that inn, it was being run as an inn. It was an inn, but she hadn't used it through all of COVID. So she would just use it as her own private retreat center because she was caring for her sick mom in the house next door. So she would come to the inn and hang out there.
Oh,
and take care of
gotcha.
herself. But there were no guests. She wouldn't let guests come because of COVID. So it was just sort of like this empty house. And it needed us. Like it needed us. It needed people to come and do this kind of work. It needed people to come and do spiritual work to wake it up. And what happened was after we closed, well, we called the bank to finance it. And they said, yeah, we're not accepting any applications for hospitality businesses in 2021. I said, okay, that's fine. Can I just fill out an application anyways? She said, you can fill it out, but we're not accepting any applications right now for hospitality. We said, that's fine. So we said in the application. 2 weeks later, she calls me back and she said, I just wanted to congratulate you. Your application's been approved. I'm like, okay, that's perfect. And the universe just said yes and yes and yes and yes and yes. And the first retreats we did in the early days in April and in June of 2021 is we held retreats for retreat leaders. So we let retreat leaders come and just have the experience of having a retreat in that space, so that we used it as a marketing tactic so that they could hold retreats of their own. And we basically gave it away. I'm sorry you missed those retreats.
Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't know you then.
And a number of them booked retreats from that. That's how we got a number of our first retreats. But what happened after the first retreat, right? Like after the first one we did at the last weekend in April, we actually did our first retreat before we closed. We did the retreat April 27th and we closed April 29th. And we had to rent the retreat rent the inn to do the retreat, which we lost money renting it. So, but after that first retreat, there was a sizable shift in the energy, right? Like we had started to wake her up, and now she's rocking. Now she's absolutely rocking. But that's really what that land needed. The town is excited about it. Everybody's excited about it because the energy there is palpable.
I need to hang out with you more and get my generator revved up.
All right. All right. You got
Because I
it.
know I'm a generator too, but I got to get revved up here. That's awesome. I love that story, how, it just all comes together when it's meant to be.
Well, I think there is a kindred karmic connection of me in this space, right? It's just my healing place. Every time I go there, it's just remarkably, remarkably healing. So, and you
That's
couple that with an
wonderful.
infrared sauna and a saltwater jacuzzi and a really good massage, and
Okay, I'll be packing tonight.
and then I'm really healed.
That's amazing. I really look forward to coming out there. So you teach yoga retreats there, yes?
Yes, I teach yoga and meditation, and we do all kinds of transformation work, everything from law of attraction to human design. I put a little Tony Robbins spin on some of the stuff. So we do,
Awesome.
yeah, we do, some of this stuff, it's hard to explain, right? You just have
Right.
to, experience it. We see what shows up, and sort of, I'm finding there's been periods in time where the theme was around change, right? The
Hmm.
change is a constant theme. Sometimes we'll have retreats, people will show up and they're all going through a certain life phase, and they need support going through that change or that phase.
Yeah.
Or they're going through loss, right? And I do find every retreat has its own theme, and the people all kind of gravitate around that
They
theme.
really do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What I love most about retreats, and well, maybe not most, but what I really love about retreats is that people who came to my retreats years ago and met each other at those retreats are still friends today.
Yeah. I
I
love it
love
when I'm
that.
on Facebook and I see people who met at my retreats chatting. It
Yes.
makes it all feel like it's exactly how it's supposed to be, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that, how it just brings people together who are supposed to at some point meet, but
Yeah.
I guess this is where they met, right?
That's where they're supposed to meet.
That's
But what
where
I
they're
was gonna say is
supposed to
what I've
meet.
been seeing, like, the last couple retreats, my last big retreat that I did was in January, and I had remarkable people show up in January, minus 20-degree weather. But it seems that what people are looking for right now is, as you would suspect, right, is how do we navigate now in this
Yeah,
new world? Who do we want to
exactly.
be in this new world? All that we've learned, all that we've experienced, all that's shifted, all that's changed. How do we integrate that? And then how do we move forward? And
Right.
that seems to be that I think that theme's going to hold for a little bit, right? We
Yeah,
all need support
I
around
agree.
that.
I think for the next couple of years, that's going to be a really important theme as we're all integrating the higher energies, as we're moving through all of this and
Yeah.
bringing the fifth dimension and the third dimension together to work together. Because I don't know what people were expecting, but I think a lot of people were expecting, I don't know, some sort of rapture or something. I don't know.
I think so. I think that's exactly right.
Yeah. And
And uh, the way I describe it is a good chunk of the last 12 months, right? Feels like I was in the middle of a snow globe, and sometimes it was really peaceful and just sort of snowing, and then other times somebody picked it up and shook the shit out of that thing, right?
yes, I have used that analogy myself. Yes. It's like my life is a snow globe and some hand comes out of the sky and picks it up and goes, here you go, deal with that.
It's like, wow. And
Yeah.
I can honestly say, Christina, like I don't know what percentage of me is the same human that I was 12 months ago.
I have questioned that too.
Yeah.
So I know I'm not the same person I was a year ago or 2 years ago.
Yeah,
Definitely.
the shift has just been incredible. Some of the things that happen now, I think of former versions of myself and how I would have reacted to certain situations, where now it's my level of clarity, my level of equanimity, my level of commitment to this cause, all these things, right?
Yeah.
It's just so cool. It's really quite exciting. So if we have 2 more years of this, I don't know. What are we going to be doing?
Glowing and floating. I don't know.
Well, I'm thinking Enliven in, at least 6, 8 states by the end of the next few years.
That would be amazing. That would definitely be amazing. See, and I'm the one who doesn't necessarily want to own a retreat center. I want to use other people's retreat centers. So that's perfect.
Great. Perfect.
That's perfect. Awesome. All right. It has been such a pleasure having you here and talking about retreats. And I really hope that people who are listening, either live or on repeats, will take advantage of whatever retreats are coming their way. And, listen to yourself the first time. Maybe it'll be easier than listening the 50th time. But, listen, hear those messages, and just trust that the universe is guiding us, because as much as there's a bunch of yuck going on in the world, that's how change happens. It has to be brought to the surface so that we can eradicate it.
I also find that your
Yeah.
kindred spirits will come to that retreat with you, and they will be supportive
Yes.
people for you on your journey now and in the future. And that's something you just can't, you can't substitute.
Exactly. I have found that retreats are worth every penny and more. They really are.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I am going to take us out with a guided meditation. And I hope you all know what chakras are, because we're going to light them up. All right. So everyone just sit back, relax, unless you're driving or cooking or doing something else dangerous. Relax and just take a few deep but comfortable breaths. And as you exhale, just let your muscles relax and just feel your body sinking into whatever it is that you're lying on or sitting on. And as you're exhaling, just feel your muscles continue to relax from the top of your head down into your shoulders and your arms. And just feel that relaxation going down through the middle of your body, relaxing your internal organs, relaxing your hips, your legs, all the way down to the tips of your toes. And the next time you exhale, visualize roots growing from the bottoms of your feet down through the floor into the earth below the building, growing down through the layers of earth, through the sand, soil, and rock, all the way down to the center of the planet, where your roots will enter into the crystal cavern. All of the crystals in this cavern have words etched on them. Allow your roots to grow and expand, to wrap around the crystals with the following words: love, balance, peace, wisdom, trust, health, happiness, joy, clarity, abundance, prosperity, compassion, gratitude. Leaving your roots wrapped around the crystals, draw energy from the crystals up your roots. See or feel the energy as it moves up through the layers of earth, coming up through the floor and entering your body at the soles of your feet. Feel the grounding, warm earth energy as it moves up your legs and stops at the root chakra. Focus the energy to the root chakra until you can see it glowing brightly in red, or until you feel the chakra open. Now feel the energy as it rises up into your sacral chakra, focusing the energy there until you can see it glowing brightly in orange or until you feel the chakra open. Now feel the energy as it rises up into your solar plexus, focusing the energy there until you can see it glowing brightly in yellow or until you feel the chakra open. And again, feel the energy as it continues to rise up into your heart chakra, focusing the energy there until you can see it glowing brightly in green or until you feel the chakra open. Continue to feel the energy rise as it moves up into your throat chakra, focusing the energy there until you can see it glowing brightly in blue or until you feel the chakra open. And feel the energy as it continues to rise up into your third eye chakra, focusing the energy there until you can see it glowing brightly in indigo or until you feel the chakra open. Finally, feel the energy as it rises up to your crown chakra, focusing the energy there until you can see it glowing brightly in violet or until you feel the chakra open. Now visualize a beam of light going through all 7 chakras, connecting each to the next. Focus on that beam of light until it becomes bright and strong. When the light has become bright and strong, move your consciousness into it. Become the light. Leaving your body where it is to rest and rejuvenate as the beam of light rise up through your crown chakra, up through the ceiling and the roof, into the sky as you begin your journey, moving further and further up, leaving Earth's atmosphere and moving through the Milky Way galaxy, past the planets and the stars, as you continue to move further out, leaving the galaxy and moving through deep space, all the way out to the edge of the universe. As you pass the edge of the known universe, you enter into the place of pure divine creation. Allow your light to disperse and become one with the creative energy of the divine loving universe. Take a few moments now to set your intentions for the rest of the week. When you have set your intentions, draw your beam of light back together, bringing with it the shared knowledge and wisdom of the divine, creative, loving universe. When your beam of light has been completely reassembled, leaving an etheric thread, begin the journey back to your body, moving through deep space, entering and moving through the Milky Way galaxy, re-entering Earth's atmosphere, coming down through the sky, the roof, the ceiling, and re-entering your body at the crown chakra. Feel the divine loving light of the universe as it moves through and fills you, allowing some of that light to move down your roots to re-energize the crystals that support our planet. Take a deep cleansing breath. This is where we will spend the rest of our week, perfectly balanced between the heavens and earth. When you are ready, you may open your eyes. You can listen to this and some other guided meditations on my website for free at christinabloom.com. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you, Carrie, for being with us. And we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Christina.